Hello everyone, Becky here. Today I've got my daughter Ella here and she is going to be my model for a little hair trim. Um, this will be a little tutorial on cutting maybe your daughter's hair or your son's hair or anybody's hair that's fairly long, and obviously you can start wherever. We're not going to cut a whole lot off of Ella's hair today. She got a trim maybe a month or so ago, and she likes it fairly long, but she's willing to give up an inch or two today for the sake of me showing a tutorial on a long haircut. So some of the things I want you to think about is how much wave or curl someone may have in their hair. So obviously curly hair, wavy hair will shrink up, so keep that in mind when you start to cut. So it's always better to cut a little bit at a time, especially on curly hair that's going to shrink up a lot once it's dry. So Ella's hair is just a little bit damp from a water bottle. You could cut their hair soaking wet right out of the shower if you want, or you could cut it dry. If it's straight, it's pretty easy to cut it dry. If it's curly, it's a little more difficult. We're going to just do basically a one length haircut. She does have a few long layers that I may trim up, but do it yourself haircut probably doesn't need to get into doing a whole lot of layers. Just want to hold you over, don't want you going crazy doing some drastic haircut. Your hairdresser's not going to have a whole lot of time to fix things. So anyway, do wait if you can, but if you do need to trim it up, I just want to give you some tips today. So if you have some clips like this would actually be great. But most of you probably do not have clips like we use in the hair salon, but you may have a clip like this. So if you have a clip, you're going to want to get it and have it ready, because you're going to want to section some of this hair off and use your clip to pin it up with. So anyway, I'm going to kind of section the hair, and I'm just going to do a little part from the top of her head down to right behind her ear on this side. I'm going to spin Ella around a little bit. So you really want to just kind of start in the back and work your way around, but it is kind of nice to do it in about 3 or 4 different sections. So right now I've kind of sectioned this hair from the top of her crown to the back of her ear. I'm just going to kind of pull that forward. It is a little breezy outside, so hopefully my sections will stay up and out of the way, but I'll pin that over for now. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of her head. So beautiful today, we decided to do the haircut outside. So part it off. Hope everyone is doing okay and getting some opportunities to be outside and take some walks, get some fresh air. Maybe take your dog for a walk if you have a dog. So here we go. So there's kind of what we want to start with, is kind of getting that side and front hair out of the way so we can just work on this hair back here in the back first. So hopefully I'll be able to explain this pretty well to you. So I'm going to kind of part it down the center, and we will talk about parts when we get up to the top on where to part the hair when you're cutting it, depending on if they wear a side part or a center part. So we will worry about that later. So right now I'm just now splitting the back of her hair in two. So Ella's hair looks nice and clean, just washed it today. Scalp looks nice and healthy. So if you I'm actually just going to put all of this in one section. Normally at the salon I would do 2 sections here and here, but I'm kind of thinking a lot of you don't have a whole lot of clips around your house, so I'm actually going to put all of this maybe in one a little more similar to this, something that I think you would probably have at your house. So anyway, I'm going to take back what I just said, and I'm going to take all of this hair and part it off and try to get a fairly nice even little line. I think that's our neighbor's dog barking. Okay, so just take that hair and pin it up, get it out of the way. So right now, I have quite a big section here that I'm going to start with. I'm going to wet it down just a little bit more. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to be out of the way when I'm cutting and you can see what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go with all this. I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of where the camera is. So anyway, I also brought up 3 different pair of shears, some kitchen shears, some sewing shears, and my real salon shears. So I know my kitchen shears are pretty sharp. I used them on my bangs the other day. I'm going to try these sewing shears because I'm hoping they're not sharp, and I'm hoping to show you if your shears aren't sharp, what it would look like and not to use them. Typically, when you cut hair, if you bend the hair but you don't cut it, you're not going to be able to use those shears. So let's see what these do. So I'm going to pull this down kind of straight. Let's see. Oh yay, so they just bend the hair. You can kind of see I'm cutting, but then they're doing this. So maybe try to find a different pair of shears around your house that are a little sharper than this, because this would take you all day to cut it. When it doesn't really go through, it just bends. It does a little bit of cutting, but it's really what you would really want to try to find a different pair to use. So anyway, I'm going to use my good shears here. So like I said, we're taking about maybe just a little bit of over an inch of hair off Ella. So I'm going to kind of take this little section, maybe just try to not really get a whole lot in from the sides. You're going to just kind of start here in the center, pull down a little bit of hair, making sure that all that hair, if you've got a towel around them, make sure you've got all the hair out from underneath the towel. And before we started, Ella was sitting with the chair the correct way, but the back of the chair was actually hitting her right about here, which makes it a really difficult spot to cut hair. So she's turned the back of the chairs around the front. So either use a stool or something without a back. I mean, if it does have a back, make sure it's going to be cut pretty short, because if the back of the chair is here, it's going to really make it awkward to try to cut it and get it even. So anyway, let's start. So you can already see where I took that little bit off with the scissors. So I'm going to kind of hold it down like this. I'm going to cut from underneath of my fingers, and I'm going to take, and hopefully you can see that. Now the sun's coming out. There we go. Yeah, I think you can see it. Snip, snip. Again, be very careful not to get too close to your finger. If you look closely, you can see lots and lots of scars from 36 years of cutting my hand right here. So stop cutting before you get to your skin for sure. So now I'm using this as my little guideline, the piece I had just cut, and I'm going to continue to cut a little bit of that. So now I'm going to pull in a little bit of hair from over here on the side. Not the side, that's clipped and put away, but the back side. I'm going to pull it down, and you can kind of see the part I've cut and the part I haven't cut. And we're going to bring those two little sections together, and I'm going to trim off that long hair. So, oh, it's getting warm out here now. Okay, so Ella's hair has a little bit of wave in it, so you know, I'm going to kind of continue to pull it down, make sure I've got all that hair kind of the same length right there. So now you can see this little section that I've cut and this little section that I haven't cut. And now that I'm looking at it, I think she actually did need a haircut. So, eek, there goes a wasp. All right, so, and her hair's drying pretty fast out here in the sunshine. So, I'm gonna turn her a little bit. And then I'm going to turn her this way a little bit. Yeah, I'm still in there, so kinda. All right, so I'm gonna come over here and you can see the hair I've cut and you can see the hair I haven't cut. So, and it actually looks kind of crooked, so try to do a little bit better job than me. Okay, so go. There we go. Looks pretty good. Like I said, she does have a little bit of wave in it, so what you can do as you cut each section, after you cut a little section, you could always take your hands and sort of just pull them down, hold each little side like this, make sure they're right about the same level, which they are. So anyway, this is our first little section, and this becomes our guideline. So the rest of the haircut will follow this guideline. So this is our guideline, and when I bring the hair down, she does have a few little layers in it, so I won't be able to show it to you as much as, or as well as if her whole hair was all one length. But each little section I bring down, I'm going to cut it the same as my guideline. If you cut it a little bit shorter, you're going to start seeing some hair hang down from underneath, but I'll talk to you about that at the end of the haircut. Sometimes you can tilt someone's head down and you'll see some longer hairs down there and just snip them a little bit more. But right now we've established our guideline, so we're going to go from there. So now I'm going to take all this hair down and I'm going to bring another section down. The next section won't be quite as big as that first section, because you're probably going to want to do maybe 4 sections. So we had 1, I'll probably do 2, 3, and then 4. So I'm going to maybe go up maybe about to the top of her ear now and come around and try to get it as straight as you can, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect when you're pulling your sections down, but your haircut will be a little bit neater if you can. So I'm going to clip all that hair up and get it out of the way. If you don't have a clip, you could actually have them hold their hair up out of the way, but their arm would probably get a little tired. So anyway, so now you can see, I hope you can see this. Yeah, you can kind of see how it's thinner here. So you can see the hair that I've cut underneath here. See how you can see where my guideline is, the hair that's coming down. If I would have taken a really, really big, thick section, you would have never seen the guideline under that. So that's why it's important to do kind of smaller sections here, so you can always see through the hair and see where that original haircut line was made. So yeah, hair's drying really fast out here. I'm so happy it's spring. As bad as all of this quarantine is, this weather sure has been lovely. So okay, so now what we want to do is pull that, start again in the center here. Make sure they're sitting up nice and straight. Ella has pretty good posture, so that's nice. Now I'm going to pull it down. And again, you can kind of see that hair underneath. So I'm going to take this section. Really what I would like to tell you is to go just a teensy bit longer than the guideline below. Ever so slight. Then you won't have those hairs that hang under. But if you do, that's great. But if not, just cut it all even. That'll work too. So So really, once you get your guideline established, everything from there is pretty easy as long as you follow that original one. So, and right now I'm just kind of cutting Ella's hair straight across. That would probably be easier. That's what most girls wear now. Now some of them kind of have it angled up around their face a little bit, but right now in the back we're just going straight across. So, and I'm going to come over to this side, take my maybe inch and a half off, slightly more than an inch. There we go. I'm going to pull it down and kind of look and see if it's pretty even. Looks pretty even. I hope I'm doing this okay, and you can see maybe probably should have done it inside where it wasn't so bright and sunny, but I haven't been outside much today, so I wanted to get a little bit of vitamin D. Okay, so there's our next little section, looking good. I'm going to take this down. And again, now you can see where my guideline now is even thicker because I've cut more hair, so you can kind of see there. I think you see it better when I'm blocking the sun. You can see how it's kind of thin on those little ends, and then it gets a little bit thicker. So anyway, probably getting more of the sky in than Ella's hair. So yeah. So anyway, I made my YouTube channel today, so that was fun. I'll probably put this on Facebook, but if you want to watch any of the previous videos, I did a bang trim on myself, and I did a few haircuts on Bob. So they're on Facebook, as well as Bob's has a YouTube channel also. Bob's is called Simply Strong. He's a personal trainer, for those who don't know that. And he's been posting a lot of great videos on how to do some workouts at home if you can't get to the gym. So make sure you check Bob out at Simply Strong Studios on YouTube. Thank you. Okay. Gonna mist it a little bit again. You know what? I may take this in one more section. So I'm gonna take a little section up here and pin it. Especially if your loved one has thick hair. Obviously, the thicker their hair is, the more sections you're probably going to want to do, so you don't get overwhelmed with a lot of hair. And like I said, just do a little bit at a time. You can always take more off, but can't put it back on. So I'm going to take that little section, clip it up and out of the way. You doing okay, Ella? Yeah. A little break from homework. Today they started their online homework, so that was thrilling, I'm sure. Right, Ella? Right. So, I know it's a challenge probably at home. I would have been distraught if my girls would have been in 4th or 5th grade and trying to help them with their math. I think it was about 5th grade, wouldn't you say, Ella? Yeah. When I had the math meltdown, that I couldn't help my daughter with her math homework. So I am glad that my girls are 16 and 18, and they don't need my help anymore because I haven't been able to help them for years. So anyway, here we go. So now you can see my guideline is even thicker and thicker. And you can see what we need to do. It's not so hard, is it? Well, I shouldn't say that. It is hard. Do it a time if you have to, but get back to your hairdresser because we're all gonna need you. So I'm gonna pull down. And I'm keeping it fairly, you know, close to her back when I'm cutting. I'm not pulling it out here, I'm not pulling it up. I'm keeping my hand pretty close to her back. You know, you could even do something like this where you hold that down. I take for granted that everybody knows how to hold a comb and hold scissors, but I've been doing this 36 years, so it's second nature to me. So, you know, it may be easier for you to comb their hair really nice and smooth and hold their hair down with your hand like this, which is fine. I can still see my guideline there. So, just gonna hold it down. Of course, I usually hold my comb in this hand, but I'm just gonna set it right here. Hold it down. Trim a little off. Yeah, so that works too. If that's easier for you. So, and obviously I'm like squatting down a lot here while I'm cutting her hair, but if you're at home and you're cutting their hair, maybe you've got a bench or a tall bar stool, something that they can sit on that would make it a little bit more eye level for you, so you have a better view when cutting their hair. So there we go. Do this way. I've been enjoying getting on Facebook. Makes me laugh a lot. All the memes. It's obviously very serious what we're going through, but it's also nice to have some laughs through the day. There we go. There, so now you can see we've cut this side, still have just this little bit here. Move on over. So I've had a few requests for haircuts today of some clients that have teenage daughters and some clients that are teenage girls. So I think some of the moms are going to give it a try. Maybe even some of the dads may try cutting their hair. So actually going to do a virtual haircut tonight with one of my customers. Her daughter's going to cut her hair and she's going to cut her daughter's hair, and I'm going to try to walk them through that. So I'm sure Shelly can watch my tutorial today, but I am going to maybe help her daughter trim her mom's hair. So that should be interesting. Hopefully everyone will survive. There we go. Ella's hair looks so pretty and blonde out here in the sunshine. So she's got some leftover highlights from maybe a few years ago. That's why the ends are a little bit blonder. And when we get around to the front, you may see a little hint of pink left from a couple weeks ago when we colored her hair pink. So don't be too alarmed if your kids want to color their hair, or if you want to color your own hair. It fades pretty quick. I guess it's been about a week and a half ago. Ella's was like hot, 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 hot pink. And within a few shampoos, it was pretty much pale pink. So if they do something crazy or they want to color their hair, it's kind of fun to let them. Just, you know, protect your bathroom floor and your towels, because it will stain some stuff. So anyway, now you can see that I brought that top section down. And really, since Ella has a few little layers, there's probably not going to be much to cut because that layer was shorter. So if someone that you're cutting has a lot of layers in their hair, by the time you get to some of this top section, you're not going to have anything to cut. I may have a few little scragglers here to trim up, so I'm just going to go through this section real quick. Make sure I've got it all nice and even. I was hoping to be wearing my UK National Champion 2020 hat today. I'm just going to pretend we won the NCAA. That would have been exciting, huh? Would be interesting to know who would have won. There were so many good teams this year, and not really any one powerhouse. So I had a feeling it was going to be an awesome tournament. It's my favorite time of year, so oh well, next year, right? Hopefully we'll get some baseball in this summer, and our beloved Cubs will do well. And the Reds, of course. We love the Reds too. Just not as much. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna pull it down like I did before. Make sure all these sides The sides kind of the same, which they look to be the same. So now what you could have your daughter or your son do is to bend their head forward. And when they bend their head forward and you comb it down and you have, you know, the bulky towel out of the way, it might be better for them just to wear an old t-shirt. Sometimes a big bulky towel around their neck will interfere with the haircut. So maybe just an old t-shirt that's kind of thin. So Ella's bent her head down, and if you look closely, you can see these little hairs hanging underneath. And don't be alarmed if you have them bend their head down and you comb it out and you see some really long hair. So I'd suggest kind of just holding that down, and you can see those little hairs hanging. I'm just going to take and snip those. And that's where undercutting comes in handy, but we aren't going to worry about explaining undercutting. But it's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm kind of just taking my scissors and cutting some of that underneath a little bit shorter. So anyway, I think that'll do it. When I cut hair at the salon, I'm always shocked after I blow dry the hair and I think I have it all nice and even. Then they get up to leave and they bend their head down a little bit and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, even a professional can have some long hairs that they've missed. So anyway, so that's the back of Ella's hair. It looks pretty good. If I did want to trim up her layers, you know, I would kind of pick this up and I would pull it out and I'd cut some of those little layers. But I'm not going to worry about teaching you layers today. I don't want to get carried away, and I don't want to teach you all too much. You might think you're so good at it you don't need me anymore. So anyway, that's the back. Now I'm going to spin Ella around just a little bit here and show you how to blend the back to the sides here and the front. So let's see. Yes, that has dried, even though we misted it down a little bit. Okay. So now let's see here. Okay, I might bring that a little bit closer. And you can see now how this chair is turned around because this was right in the way of the length that I wanted to cut her hair. So, okay, so Ella's hair has a little bit of an angle, so we won't be cutting a whole lot off here, but I do want to be able to cut enough so that we can see what to do. So basically, if you were cutting the hair all the way around from the back to the front and you wanted it to just stay all the same length, you just cut it all the same length. You might want to angle it up just a little bit. Now if it is a bob and you're cutting a bob, some people want to kind of angle down, but you know what, that's also a little bit complicated and we probably don't need to worry about that today. So Ava's hair is actually a little shorter bob, so I did just cut hers not long ago, but maybe she'll let me trim a little bit more off her hair. So might even let Ella cut my hair. That be good, Ella? Let you cut the back of my hair off?
Sure. Yeah.
She cuts her daddy's hair sometimes when I can't get to it, so she does a pretty good job. Okay. So now you can see here, you can see the nice fresh cut ends, and you can see the little thin scraggly ends. So I'm going to use my clip again here. Oh, I know what I want to talk to you a little bit about the part before we get started. So Ella pretty much always wears her hair in the center, right, Ella?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you have somebody that wears their hair in the center, you're just gonna obviously cut it with their center part. If they always wear a part on the side, try to cut it with that part that they always wear. But the nice thing about a center part when you cut is typically you will be able to flip it from either side and you won't have some long hairs. If they wear a side part all the time and you cut it and you don't have it exactly right, you're gonna see like a long piece hanging where it's not supposed to be. But if you cut it in the center, it should be fine. Now you may end up having a slight little layer on one side if they always wear it on the side and you cut it in the center, but just be aware of the part when you do it. If they always wear it in the same spot, then try to cut it there. But if they move their part around a lot, cut it in the center. So anyway, we find her little center part. So she's usually just slightly off center, aren't you? Does that feel about right? I think it's,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times you can just kind of comb it back and it'll fall where it needs to, or where it's typically used to falling. So let's go with that. Okay, hope that made sense. Okay, so again, I'm going to section this little piece here. I'll probably just do maybe like 3 sections, especially since she does have some layers in her hair. She's not going to have a whole lot of hair to cut here, so I'm going to pull that up. So I've got about maybe 2 inches right here above her ear. There's a little bit of leftover pink here, so let's see. Let me see if I got you in here pretty good. Okay. So now we're going to make sure they're sitting up nice and straight, and we're going to pull this down. So remember our guideline that we established right in the beginning? Here it is. It's over here. And we're going to blend it into these front pieces. So I'm going to take a little bit of the hair from the back side that's got my guideline in it. And I'm going to pull it down, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of that other piece. I'm going to back that up just a little bit. Sorry about that. So I think you can see that. So here we go. Pull it down. Yeah. Cut it off. See if I've got anything left here, and I do. Got a little bit of hair there. And of course, it's not as much as the back because her hair is angled a little bit. So because it's angled, I wouldn't be cutting, you know, 1.5 inches off. It's probably closer to just a 1/2 inch. So anyway, there's that little piece. I'll take my clip out. I'm gonna do 2 more sections. So I'm gonna put 1 more little section up. Flip that over. And hopefully neither one of us is going to get stung by a wasp. Okay, there we go. So pulling that down, and there again you can see my guideline and you can see what needs to be cut. Now I'm going to snip, snip, snip and try to cut it as even as possible. And you know, maybe they want their hair all the way up to their shoulders, so you'd be cutting, you know, 3 inches off. So remember, hair grows about a 1/2 inch a month. So if they want their hair to, you know, be back to where it is right now, by the time they hopefully go back to school, maybe they won't, but you know, a 1/2 inch a month. So just take that into consideration when you think about how much hair you're cutting off. So here we go. Had so many nice comments on Facebook. I'm glad y'all are enjoying my videos. It's kind of been fun doing it. Some of you know I used to do some acting. I haven't done that for years, but this is kind of fulfilling a little bit of that fun, creative side. So here we go. So now you can see there's not much left for me to cut because of her having some of these little layers in here. So just going to kind of pull it down and make sure there's no little pieces. Doesn't really look like there are. You can kind of just sort of stand back a little bit, pull it down and see that you got it all, which I think I did. And I may trim up a little bit of Ella's little angle there because it kind of looks like it could use a little trim. So, all right, so there's that side. Now I'm gonna spin her around the other way here. Cut some of this, wet it down a little bit. Okay. So you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. I'm gonna cut some of this off to blend with the back there. All right. I've got that same little section there that I had before. Turn it around this way a little bit. All right. We'll get over onto this side a little bit. Here we go. So it's kind of nice that she has blonde hair and the cape is black, so you can really see what we're cutting here. So I'm going to bring some of the hair from around on the back side, bring it around with this. I'm going to see where my guideline is, and now I'm going to just hold it pretty taut here. Remember, the tighter you hold it and the more you pull down, it's going to kind of shrink up. So I shouldn't say hold it super tight, but you know, you just want to make sure you keep it all in there. And I'm going to, that's kind of awkward for you to probably see, but you know, there again, you could also take it down like we did before. Cut some of that off and hold it like that. There we go. All right. Ella probably needed her sunglasses out here today, turning her around and into the sun, so. Okay. One more little section here. There we go. So you can see again what we need to cut. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough and you can hear me. Wow, this has been going on almost 40 minutes. Yikes. Okay, our chicken pot pie is probably done, ready to come out of the oven. Hopefully Daddy's got it handled out there in the kitchen. It's been fun cooking a lot. I actually enjoy cooking and I don't really have a whole lot of time to do it. So it's been fun cooking every day, except for the loading and unloading and loading and unloading, but at least it's not hand washing the dishes. I said I feel like Betty Hargett, all this cooking I'm doing, but I really do enjoy it. So hopefully you're trying some new recipes and everybody's kind of pulling their weight in the kitchen. What are you gonna make, Ella, anytime soon?
I don't know.
Doesn't know. Well, she made some awesome cookies last week. I think I shared it with someone. I can't remember who, but they were like the best cookies ever. What did you Google?
I just looked up chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookie recipe, but I think it said maybe...
It's from Tasty, the YouTube channel.
Okay, Tasty, the YouTube channel. And maybe it was like chewy chocolate.
Yeah.
Chewy chocolate chip cookies. And if you like chewy chocolate chip cookies, they are like the bomb. They were the best cookies I've ever had in my whole life. And we put a little sea salt on them. Did we put that on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you put it on before you put them in the oven or after?
No, after.
Okay, so I think we put it on, yeah, I think we put it on after.
Yeah.
Right when they came out, she put a little bit of coarse sea salt on them and they were delicious. So anyway, I could share that link when I get off here for anybody that may want it because they were so delicious. So anyway, let's finish this up. Okay. Ooh, whoops. One more little mist here. I was afraid I may knock something off the balcony up here. Ella's bedroom has a nice little balcony, lucky her. So, okay. So there again, this is the top layer, which really doesn't have much to cut, but I'll just pull it down and make sure I've got it pretty even. Make it on this side here. Hopefully you can see it. back it back up again a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so that looks nice. Nice and neat and healthy. There we go. All right. So kind of going to do the same thing I did to the back. You can kind of tilt their head over to the side. And then I'll pull that down and see how I've got a few little long ones still hiding under there. I'm just kind of cleaning up the ones. I didn't do it on this side, so I'll tilt her head sideways a little bit. And find a few little ones there that I missed. Okay, so one way that you can kind of check it, if you think about your guideline coming all the way around their head, is if you started and you got your guideline nice and even, then when you get to the front and the sides, everything should kind of feel the same on both sides. You can take this down and pull it and make sure your ends are about the same, and if they're not, just go in, obviously cut the one that's a little bit longer, just a little bit shorter. And maybe I'll do some bangs on Ella one of these days, or on Ava. They've both been debating about doing bangs, and bangs are starting to make a comeback again. So bangs are fun. It takes a while to grow them out, but if you're wanting to do something different, sometimes it's fun to put some bangs in. So anyway, that's Ella's haircut. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope I explained everything pretty well, and I think it looks really nice. I'm sure yours will look great too. If you have any questions or any comments, just put them below. And if you have any requests for anything else that I can help you with, I'll be happy to do that. I've got a lot of time on my hands. So anyway, you guys stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you at the salon soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.